appointment I always look forward to because he's so thorough with me. He's the only person that does a physical exam. He checks the scars where the double mastectomy happened. He checks under my lymph nodes and my armpits and my collarbone and throat. He's just really thorough. He looks at everything. He also looks over the imaging with me, whereas my primary oncologist office, medical oncologist, his staff calls me and says, okay, scans look good, no cancer. That's great, but it's not a lot of info. So the radiation oncologist will look at the images with me, compare the images to last time, and I feel like it's just more thorough, and I feel like it's just a little bit of a hand-holding. It makes me feel better to know that somebody's actually looking versus the medical oncologist who might just be reading what the findings of the report are that say there's nothing that looks suspicious. I don't think he looks at the images. I don't know why he would. He's just kind of like relaying information to me. I'm really looking forward to that. I do have a few questions for him, as always. One of them is really just about the constriction down here around the chest bone, the sternum area. He saw that 6 months ago and ordered the endoscopy for me, and I went to the endoscopist appointment and talked to them about it, and I was adverse to having sedation for sticking a camera down my throat. And now my question, because he's probably going to wonder, okay, why didn't you do that? That was my recommendation last time. My question to him now is, what will we do about that? Like, what are the possibilities that can be found from an endoscopy? And if we see that there's scar tissue from the radiation, or, you know, I don't know what other kinds of findings there could be, because I did get a PET CT and I'm not showing cancer in that area. So what's it going to be besides scar tissue or something that is a result of the radiation, which I've said many times is the thing that I still hate that I did. I truly do, because I feel like it's never going to get better with radiation over time. All the side effects of the long-term side effects are just there for me to discover as the years go by, whereas I don't feel like chemo and surgery have that same sort of like long-lasting side effect. I'm gonna ask him about the endoscopy. I'm gonna ask him about this constriction. I mean, is it possible that the constriction is gonna get worse? Will I get to a point where nothing goes down my esophagus and I can't swallow because the constriction has completely filled in that entire area? I mean, God, that would be tragic. And then suddenly I'll just choke one day. I'll just die because I swallowed my supplements and they won't go down. So that doesn't seem likely, but I'd like to know from him what am I looking at here? I am, let's see, I gotta do the math real quick. Diagnosed 2017, October. Surgery was November of 2018. That means radiation was March of 2019. And right now is April of 2022. 2.5 years, something like that. Actually, what? It's 2 years, actually. No, 19, 20, 21, 22. Oh my God, that's 3 years. Okay, I can't do math. This is definitely something that's happened to me since all of it. My brain just does not function the same. I need some air in here. I'm having a hot flash. All right, so I'm 3 years past radiation, and when I talked to the radiation oncologist who like conveniently retired after treating me, I felt so abandoned. Obviously that's a bit dramatic, but at the same time, we had such a close relationship. I'm literally sweating on here, and this is what a hot flash does. Instant sweat. It's like walking into a sauna. We just had such a close relationship. He called me when I was leaving appointments at Stanford, and he'd be like, how was your appointment? I know you had it today. It was amazing. He was incredible. He'd been doing it for decades, so of course it stands to reason he'd retire at some point. But when he left, I was like, oh God, who's gonna be my advocate? Because he really was the one that I felt was the most. And then this new guy came, and he's a lot younger, a little whippersnapper, super smart, really energetic. He spends a lot of time with me and answers my questions, and is really thorough. So we got endoscopy. Oh, I want to know if an infection could be the result of radiation. Is there any correlation with that? Because it's been over a year. It's been probably 1.5 years, maybe longer, but for sure 1.5 years that I have had blood coming up in my sputum when I when I do that. The radiation oncologist a year ago found that out. That was one of our initial appointments, and he didn't like that, and so he ordered a chest CT for me. And the chest CT was fine. There were no issues. There was no cancer, nothing suspicious. A year and a half later, and the same thing is happening. So I just am wondering, like, do I have walking pneumonia? Is radiation something that could cause an infection down the line? My medical oncologist has also been doing this for a long time, and we have a fairly close relationship. It's kind of a love-hate relationship, because I'm a bit of a pain in the ass because I just ask a lot of questions. I do research. I've had nurses tell me, oh no, he probably really appreciates that. He appreciates somebody who is proactive in their treatment, and like, yeah, we'll see. But I told him I was a pain in the ass, and he's like, yeah, you are. I would ask him this question, but I want to know what the radiation oncologist thinks about MDS and AML. Both of those are like a type of leukemia. I can never remember what they stand for. Acute myeloid leukemia, and like, what the heck else? I don't remember the MDS, but I think the MDS is a precursor to the AML. And given that I've got a blood dysfunction disorder, I have a blood disorder, autoimmune disorder, ITP, my platelets just aren't operating at a normal level. They've never recovered. I did find a study that showed a couple of women who were triple positive 2-3 years after treatment developed AML, a leukemia. And I can't remember what other connection is there, but I'd love to know what he thinks about that. I did send the question to my medical oncologist, and he just didn't respond. My tack is that I just live my best life, do what I can. I take the supplements I can. I'm totally overdue for seeing the naturopathic doctor that I see, but every time I go to her, it's like $500 out of my pocket. Just doing what I can. I take vitamin D, vitamin K. It's a D3K2 combo from Dr. Berg, who I'm always talking about. I really like. I've been doing some detoxing, you know, and I really would love to see what the heavy metal load is in my body, because the platinum was so over the top. And that is directly from the carboplatin, which is the C of the TCHP chemo that I took for triple positive. So it would be really wonderful to see if anything I'm doing is working in terms of detoxing, because it just shocks me that this many, like 3 years later, I'm still overloaded with platinum from TCHP. So it will be interesting. And then of course I want to know like what all my other levels are. I've been fasting for the most part. I've been trying to keep like a 16-8, 18-6 or less, even a 20-4 ratio. But I'm more able to keep more of an 18-6 ratio, and it's good. I think I've lost a couple pounds. I mean, I'd love to lose 5 or 10, but in the scheme of things, that's not that big of a deal. You just feel better in general. I do have more energy, and I like the feeling. I don't know if you're not somebody who's used to, if you're somebody who's used to eating all the time, you know, like 3 meals a day, snacks, you never allow your body to get hungry. It is a really nice feeling to feel hungry, I think. Sort of is like elevating or uplifting, or the lightness, you know? I feel sort of light on my feet. And that's nice, you know? I hate that I feel like I have to say, like, listen to your doctors, don't listen to me, I'm just some random person on the internet. I totally think that for me, fasting and actually being hungry and going to bed hungry is a nice feeling. Like, it feels comfortable and natural. Okay, that's it. I'm drinking a chai, so I'm just like, I'm all caffeinated. Sweet boy, I love you. I love you, little boy. Oh, too sweet, huh, buddy? You sweet boy.